You're on planet Veveki in the Purple Pencil Nebula. Right now you're wandering through a dark forest. The trees are covered with pieces of toilet paper instead of leaves. You know you have company in the woods, a werewolf. You come to a rocky cliff and see 3 bridges leading to the other side of the forest. There are people on every bridge. Which one is the werewolf? It can be anybody, but it doesn't matter. No one can turn into a werewolf since there's no full moon here. This is not Earth, remember? A dwarf planet illuminates the sky. Welcome to the moon again. Right now, you witness the most incredible jumping competition. Thanks to the weak gravity on Earth's natural satellite, athletes can jump really high. But which of them will jump the highest? The participants put on their spacesuits and walk out of the atmospheric station. They seem to be ready. 3, 2, 1, jump! And we see the winner. She's jumped much higher than her opponents. But wait, there's something wrong here. This participant is not worthy of the title of the winner. She cheated. But how did you understand that? It's a hologram. All the participants left footprints on the ground after jumping and landing. But this girl has left no traces, which means she's not real. On the shore of Molten Gum, far away from the village of Talking Stones, there's a big house. This building is different from all others in this neighborhood since it exists in 2-dimensional space. The owner is a rich architect, Mr. Ali Lee Bulb, who has just woken up after a 90,000-second nap. He finds a broken diamond banana in the kitchen. Mr. Ali Lee Bulb gets angry and calls everyone who was in the house while he was sleeping. He's going to find out who broke his amazing piece of jewelry. Big closed eye, cardboard giraffe with glasses, and 3-headed pelican come into the living room.
Tell me who broke the banana.
Mr. Ali Lee Bulb says. I didn't do that. I was visiting rich old people in their dreams, Big closed eye tells him.
I was watching the Liquid Laughter 3D movie in the living room all this time,
the giraffe says. I have no idea who I am and what's going on here. I haven't touched your banana, said one of the pelican's heads. Mr. Ali Lee Bulb immediately realizes who's lied to him. And you? It's Cardboard Giraffe. He couldn't watch a 3D movie since the house only exists in 2 dimensions. It happened on a dark night on a purple planet. A fluffy snake crawled into the house where a purple guy was sleeping. It bit him, and the purple guy decided to go to a hospital. He told the doctor everything. She looked at the guy attentively and told him the snake hadn't been venomous. How did she know that? It was 3:45 a.m. on the clock in the guy's room. Now it's 11:45 p.m. on the clock in the examination room. The purple guy has spent almost a day trying to get to the hospital. So far, nothing bad has happened to him, which means the snake was not poisonous. The king of a tiny planet has no heirs. But then, who will become the ruler of this world? To choose the best candidate, the king gives every inhabitant 1 seed. Whoever grows the most beautiful flower will get the planet, the king tells them. Come back in 2 months. 2 months later, everyone came back with beautiful flowers. Among hundreds of candidates, there was one girl with an empty pot, and her brother with the most beautiful flower. The king said they would rule the planet. Why them? All the seeds were fake, and the girl didn't want to deceive the king by replacing the seed. Meanwhile, her brother put a lot of effort into growing the most beautiful plant to achieve his goal. Rain falls upward in this world, cars move backward, broken glass repairs itself. Pens erase words from paper. Chickens hide back in the egg at the end of their life. So you get it, time runs backward here. But something is wrong in this world. What is it? Try to look beyond the picture you've just seen before answering. The correct answer is my voice. It's not reversed. Space monsters are chasing you inside an abandoned space station somewhere at the edge of a faraway galaxy. They're stretching their toothy tentacles towards you. Fortunately, you manage to jump into a rescue ship and get out of there. Suddenly, you realize that the ship has no brakes. There's an asteroid belt to your left. A small black hole is on the right, and a red star is in the middle. Which way should you choose? None of these. Don't forget that you can also fly up or down. You're in outer space. It's raining diamonds every day on this planet. The rays of the closest star that warms this world contain gold particles. Banknotes grow on trees. Seas glow green because the water is filled with emeralds. Despite all this wealth, people don't want to live here. Why? Gold particles in the air can damage human lungs within seconds. Money trees don't produce oxygen, and there are no fish in the water because of the emeralds. People simply can't exist there.
Everything looks so yummy except for one thing. Better not eat it. Do you see it? Here it is, a stuffed animal. Not a very healthy lunch option. What a cute group of cats. Can you spot the rabbit hiding among them? Here it is, hiding behind the felines. Little Red Riding Hood has an important mission. She won't complete it until you find the 5 differences between these pictures. Did you spot them all? Excellent! Nothing is what it seems. Do you notice anything weird about this? A man's face. Like I said, weird. Looks like a pretty stable weather forecast. Only one day is supposed to stand out. Your task? Identify it. One day is going to be sunny with no clouds whatsoever. Here's a classic emoji riddle. One of these guys isn't quite like the others. I hope you found the odd one out. Quick biology quiz. What animal left these footprints? The answer is somewhere in this picture. There's a bear right there. This desk clearly needs reorganizing. While you're at it, find the 4 differences between these pictures. Nailed it! That fish must be delicious, but does it look like something else to you? Right, it's also a girl's face. Hey, don't you call her fish face. While you're fighting the urge to take all these pups home, see if you can find the 10 differences between these images. Hope you spotted them all. How many living beings do you see in this picture? There are 3 of them, a black panther, a bird, and a girl. This tree must be really clever. It has 10 heads. Can you spot them all? There you go! Didn't expect to run into a horse in this neighborhood. Do you see it? Of course you did. That's one hungry koala. You have 7 seconds to find the 10 differences between these two pictures. The ice cubes, the nut, the berry, the bone, the bun. What a feast! All these pieces fit together perfectly, except for one. Can you find it? Yep, this one's not gonna work. There's a polar bear lost in this winter wonderland. Let's see if you can rescue it. I wonder how it made it up there. Do you like white flowers? If not, maybe you can see something else. It's a girl. The mountains are calling and you must go. Find 6 animals and birds. Did you spot them all? You'd make a great mountain lion. These monkeys don't want to hear a thing, but only one of them won't speak. Find it in 7 seconds. Excellent! Time for a walk through the woods. If you're lucky, you might just spot a sneaky fox. Must be comfy up there. There's a penguin hiding in this Antarctic landscape. Do you see it? Sometimes you gotta think way outside the box.
A famous courier service hires new staff. To get the job, candidates need to take a package and run a marathon in 3 hours. They easily cope with this task. Then, the boss asks them to swim the distance of the Olympic pool. One of the candidates stops halfway through the distance to take a breath. He drops out of the race. It leaves us with 3 participants. Now they have to pass a test in nuclear physics. Only 2 candidates make no mistakes. The third guy fails. And the last task is to conquer Everest. And here they are, climbing to the top. "Remind me, what salary do they offer?" one of them asks. $20 per hour, the second candidate answers. Finally, they get to the peak and meet the boss there. He looks at them and says, "You both have made it so far, but I'll hire only one of you. Who will get this job?" The first candidate. He's still carrying the package he got before the marathon. 2 powerful film producers are having a breakfast in an expensive restaurant. They discuss the budget for a sequel to a very successful movie that got $500 million at the box office. They speak very quietly since they mention important details of the script. They suspect that someone might overhear them. The producers are right. Some curious people are indeed eavesdropping on their conversation. Find them. There's a guy at the table holding a magazine upside down. Obviously, he isn't reading it. He must be listening to the producers. That girl over there is a journalist. There's a camera lens sticking out of her backpack. See? She will post a video, and fans will be able to read the producer's lips. That man is eating a salad, but you can notice a microphone hidden in his long hair. 3 people are standing in front of an ice cream cart. The first guy is taking a cone from the seller. The guy behind him is nervous. His hands are in his pockets. The third guy is looking at something through binoculars. Which of them is a police officer? Look at the first guy. He's got a police radio in his pocket.
Where's my money?
The owner of a diner screams. It's 30 minutes till the end of the working day, but there's no money in the cash register. 3 employees have been working today, but they swear they haven't touched the money. They say there have been no clients in the diner. The boss doesn't believe them. He studies the employees, trying to figure out who's the thief. Linda is wearing a pair of sunglasses, jeans, and a stylish t-shirt. She also has an expensive phone. Michael is dressed in costly designer clothes. Sarah is wearing a regular jacket and a long skirt. Who do you think has stolen the money? They're all telling the truth. Look at the sign on the door. Open, it says. This means people passing by the diner see the closed sign. The employees forget to turn it over, and that's why there have been no clients. Michael is walking down a long road. He's sweaty, hungry, and thirsty. There are no cars around, and his phone isn't working. Michael takes a few more steps and sits down on the road. He can't walk anymore. At this moment, he hears a vehicle approaching. A big bus appears on the road. It stops by Michael. Its doors open, but Michael doesn't get inside. He notices a car and a motorbike approaching. They stop by him too. All the drivers offer to give Michael a ride. What should he choose? The bus seems normal, but one of its tires is flat. The trip won't last long. Look at the biker. His face is hidden by a helmet, but he has hooves instead of feet. Mike chooses the car. One video blogger has been walking across a desert for several hours. The guy has no water left and he's losing strength, but his camera battery is fully charged. He climbs a small hill and sees 3 lakes, but not all of them are real. Help the blogger to identify illusions. He has a video camera. He should film the lakes. Mirages can't be recorded. A biker is traveling along a country road when he hears a scream. A woman is calling for help. She seems to be in the forest. The biker drives in her direction and sees 3 girls among trees. They're all begging to save them from a vampire. But which of you is the vampire? The man asks.
It's her.
The girl screams and points at one another. How can the biker find out who is human? There are 2 side mirrors on the motorcycle. The biker needs to turn the handlebars to check which girl has a reflection. Martin likes visiting abandoned factories and other buildings. Today he's going to check a huge deserted shopping mall located on a remote island. According to some legends, the Minotaur lives inside the building. The creature looks like a human with a bull's head. Of course, Martin doesn't believe that. He takes a flashlight, a warm blanket, and a night vision camera. It's dark and cold inside. Martin hears a strange noise coming from the corridor. He shines a flashlight and sees the Minotaur. The monster looks angry. It aims its horns at Martin. What should the guy do? Faster! The bull is about to attack! Remember that blanket that Martin took with him? The guy should throw it at the monster's muzzle to confuse the creature and escape.
Gemma is a mermaid. No, really. She lives in the Atlantic Ocean with her family and friends. Can you tell who the youngest sister in the family is just by looking at them? Take a look at the granny mermaid. She has plenty of starfish on her tail. It's a hint. Each star symbolizes 1 year of life. That means that the second mermaid is the youngest. Her tail is decorated with 15 starfish, which means she's 15, and 2 other sisters are 18 and 22 years old, respectively. Now one day, Gemma went to a mermaid party, but one of the guests was not a real mermaid. Can you tell who it was? This shark over there is not a mermaid. Gemma's mother, Fiona, owns a cute one-story jewelry store for mermaids. She came to her store early in the morning and found out that the most expensive necklace had been stolen. She called the underwater police. Detective Fisher arrived and questioned Fiona. "I closed the store at 10 p.m. and went home. The pearl necklace was still right there." Detective Fisher identified 3 suspects. The owner of the store next door said, "I closed my door at 8 p.m. and went home right after that." The guard said, "I was on duty last night. Perhaps the thief snuck into the store when I was patrolling another floor." And the cleaning lady said that she'd finished cleaning at 4 p.m. Then she rushed home because her husband was having a birthday party. So, who's lying? The guard. Fiona's shop is a one-story building. He couldn't be on another floor when the necklace was stolen. There's no other floor. Gemma was swimming with dolphins and reached the surface of the ocean. Suddenly, she noticed 2 handsome guys, Nick and Rick, and they were both in trouble. Which guy should Gemma save first? Rick. Although this wooden boat is a bit flooded with water, it's still okay, and Nick can scoop the water out. But this inflatable boat is damaged. Rick will soon find himself in the water, and a shark is nearby. Gemma saved both guys and brought them to the shore. Nick grabbed his phone and took her picture without permission. Gemma asked him to delete the photo because merfolk didn't want people to know about them. Nick said, "Okay, I'll delete the evidence. But first, you gotta crack my riddle. Salty water everywhere, but not sea in sight. What am I talking about? Can you help Gemma?" The correct answer is tears. Rick asked Gemma on a date, and she said yes. She went to a local witch doctor to buy a potion to get human legs for 24 hours. The door to the witch's house was locked, and the note said, "If you want to meet me, find the key first." Can you help Gemma find the key? Here it is. Gemma opened the door with the key and found another door that required a password. There was a note on the door. What has 88 keys but cannot open a single door? Can you help Gemma crack the code? It's a piano. Gemma didn't have any money. The witch offered her this deal.
If you guess my riddle, I'll give you the potion for free. But if you don't crack it, you will be my servant forever. So listen, 2 in a hole and 4 in a pack. 6 in a trio, you see. 8's a quartet, but what you must get is the name that fits just one of me. What am I?
Gemma cracked this riddle right away and got her potion. What about you? The correct answer is half. Gemma got the potion, drank it, and turned into a human. There were 3 routes she could take to get to the meeting point. The first path led through a village inhabited by vampires. The second path is full of toxic flowers that could make her lose her mind. And the third path went through an enchanted forest that blocked all magic and canceled all previous spells. Which way should Gemma choose? The first option is the safest. It's a sunny day and vampires are probably sleeping. Rick and Gemma met at a restaurant called Three Mermaids. But there are only 2 statues of mermaids on the porch. The owner of the cafe, Victor, is well aware of this and could easily fix this. But he doesn't. Why? This is his business strategy. Passers-by notice the mistake, enter the restaurant to inform the owner, and often stay for lunch. Rick is a detective at the police station. During his dinner with Gemma, he received an urgent call from work. Jeff, a country house owner, said that his housekeeper had tried to get rid of him. The night before, the housekeeper gave him an apple for dessert. The man took a bite and passed out. He woke up the next morning and immediately called the police. Rick and Gemma went to the crime scene. The housekeeper denied everything. Gemma didn't know who to believe, but when Rick examined the crime scene, he understood who was lying right away. Who's the liar, the housekeeper or the owner? The owner said he had eaten a poison apple. So if it happened the day before, this apple must be brown now. But it's not. The man must have bitten into it just before calling the police. Gemma didn't notice this clue because she doesn't live on land. Now, I'm 4 times as old as my son now. In 20 years, I'll be twice as old as him. How old are we now? And my son is 10. A baby giraffe doubled in height every month until it reached its dad's size. It took 10 months. How many months did it take the baby giraffe to grow half its current size? "9 months, because the animal doubled in height every next month. I'm a 3-digit number. My second digit is 4 times as big as the first one, and the third digit is 3 less than the second. What number am I? I'm 141. The whole positive numbers have a 2-digit answer when added and a 1-digit answer when multiplied. What are these numbers? They're 1 and 9. Which vehicle do you need to add to make the scale balance? A carriage. A carriage equals 2, a car equals 3, and a bus equals 6. What did one math book tell another? I have so many problems. Add me to myself and multiply by 4. Then divide me by 8, and you'll have me once again. What number am I? I can be any number. Try it out. Can you guess what this rebus means? The answer is I over 8. You have an equation made of matchsticks. 6 plus 4 equals 4. Move just one matchstick to make it true. You'll need to take one matchstick from the plus sign and add it to 6 so that it makes 8. Then you'll have 8 minus 4 equals 4. I'll give you 3 clues, and your task is to find a 4-digit number. Its first digit is useless. The second and fourth digits are the mirror images of each other, and the third digit is half the second. This number is 0848. 0 is the number of no use. 8 mirrors each other, and 4 is half of 8. Look at this equation. 81 times 9 equals 801. What can you do to make this equation correct? Turn it upside down. 108 equals 6 times 18. Divide 30 by 1/2 and add 10. What will be the result? It's 70. Most people count like this. 30 divided by 2 plus 10 equals 25. But when you divide some number by fraction, you actually have to multiply it by the inverted fraction. So 30 times 2 plus 10 equals 70. Horses and people are gathered in a stable. You know that in total, there are 72 legs and 22 heads. How many horses and how many people are there in the stable? There are 14 horses and 8 men. 14 plus 8 equals 22 heads. 14 times 4 and 8 times 2 equals 72 legs. Write down 8 eighths so that they add up to 1,000. $888 plus 88 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 equals 1,000. A basketball mystery. I'll try not to dribble. Detective Taylor came to investigate a tricky case. Someone had pushed a famous basketball player down the stairs, and he ended up in a hospital right before an important game. The detective had 3 suspects. All of them were the player's teammates. Connor said he had been cleaning and checking the balls. Nathan explained he had had his lunch, several cheeseburgers and french fries. After that, he ran to the court to train. And Julian told the detective he had been getting a massage, his back hurt. Detective Taylor didn't need much time to figure out who the culprit was. Will you manage to do the same in 8 seconds? It was Nathan who pushed his teammate. Who eats such a big lunch before training? A mysterious car. Evan and Elias owned a small store in a quiet district. One day, they decided to stay late and discuss some business issues. At midnight, Evan called the police. When officers arrived, he was desperate. "I left Elias in the room and went to check which products we had to order. But when I came back 10 minutes later, he was lying on the floor. Someone had hit him on the head." Then the police officers asked Evan if he had seen anyone near the store. "I didn't, but I heard a car driving away. When I ran out of the store, it was already disappearing around the corner. It was foggy outside and the car didn't have its lights on. That's why I couldn't see the plate numbers, but I noticed that the car was dark blue." After this explanation, Evan was arrested for hitting his partner. Why? When it's foggy and dark, it's impossible to recognize the dark blue color. Stolen documents. Mark came to see his friend Thomas in his office. While walking along the corridor, he heard his friend shouting. He dashed inside and spotted Thomas standing near a girl who was on the floor. "It's my secretary, Linda. I just returned from my lunch break and saw her unconscious. Also, my safe was open and very important documents were missing." Another man, Thomas's deputy, entered the room. "Whoa, what's happened here? I've been away for 10 minutes at the most. I just went to buy coffee at the nearest cafe." Suddenly, the girl opened her eyes. I had such a scare. I was working with documents when somebody grabbed me from behind and then darkness. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't shown up, boss." Mark told Thomas to call the police immediately. Why? If the secretary was unconscious, how did she know it was Thomas who saved her? A lost puppy. Claire had been dreaming about having a dog for ages, and last week she finally got herself a cute puppy. But when she returned home one evening, her puppy was gone. The only thing left behind was a strange note. "If you want to see your pet again, leave $5,000 near the flower bed in your garden." Claire immediately called her friend Asher, who was a fan of detective riddles. Together, they went to question the neighbors. When Mr. Jones opened the door, he looked worn out. After Claire and Asher asked him about the puppy, he only sighed. "My wife has just given birth to our first baby. We already have enough stress in our life." Mrs. Anderson got angry after she heard the question. "I would never take someone's pet. I have 3 cats and 2 dogs of my own. They're my family." Mr. Miller also didn't like the question. "I'm allergic to animals. Why would I want to come near one?" And he sneezed loudly. When the friends returned home, Asher told Claire who had taken her pooch. Can you figure it out? It was Mr. Miller. He was sneezing and his eyes were a bit red. These are common signs of an allergy. It means Claire's puppy was nearby. A wrecked car. Mr. Davis called the police. He was extremely upset. Someone had taken his car for a joyride, crashed it into a tree, and ran away. The man suspected one of the teenagers living in the neighborhood. The police questioned 3 young people. Maya said she had a part-time job in a coffee shop, and when the accident happened, she was at work. Adrian told the police his parents had punished him. His dad told him to clean the fireplace, and that's what he was doing when the crash occurred. And Ian claimed he had been hanging out with a friend at his place. They had been binge-watching the latest series. After listening to all the suspects, the police officers arrested one of them. You have 8 seconds to figure it out who it was. It was Adrian. His house doesn't have a chimney. It means there's no fireplace inside, and he couldn't be cleaning it. Which husband? Naomi's husband, Hunter, was an explorer. Well, that makes sense. He went on an expedition to Antarctica and never came back. Naomi felt something bad had happened. She gathered several friends and traveled to Antarctica to look for her husband. When the group arrived at Hunter's camp, they found it deserted. Naomi suggested separating and searching the area. The woman herself headed to the south. She had been walking for an hour or so when the snow under her feet gave way. Naomi dropped several feet down. When she came to her senses, the woman found herself in a huge hall that looked like a lab. She turned around and screamed. Right in front of her, there were 2 large blocks of ice, and inside each of them, there was her husband. The 2 men looked identical. How could the woman tell them apart? Naomi knew she was pressed for time. She had to decide, and fast. Several seconds later, she knew which man was her husband. Can you figure it out too? The man on the left has only 4 fingers on each hand, and the man on the right doesn't have any problems with fingers. Plus, he's wearing a necklace with the letter N on it. Good for you, Naomi, but he's still in a block of ice. Jonathan spent several days in a hospital, although he never even entered the place through any doors. What's more, when he was released, he was perfectly healthy, but still had to be carried out of there. Why? Because Jonathan was a newborn baby. A village in the far north has found itself in big trouble. Someone has poisoned the lake, which was the only source of drinking water for the dwellers. When the police arrived to the place, all they saw was a set of weird prints on the snow. There were footprints between two parallel lines. They didn't know the name of the culprit, but they at least knew who they had to look for. Can you follow their logic? The police were looking for a person in a wheelchair and their helper. The wheels would leave those parallel lines, and the helper had to push the chair and would leave the footprints. Jack and his business partner decided to celebrate a very profitable contract they'd recently signed. They both loved hiking, so Jack suggested going to the Alps for a climbing trip. His partner gladly agreed, and Jack took it upon himself to arrange their little vacation. However, the trip went terribly wrong, and Jack's partner got lost in the mountains. Jack couldn't find him, and neither could the rescuers. But upon returning home, Jack was arrested after the police got a call from his travel agent. Why? The travel agent told the investigators that Jack only bought one return ticket for himself. For his partner, he bought a one-way ticket. Someone had broken into Mr. Jenkins' house and taken all his valuables while he was on vacation. His neighbor, Mr. Brown, called the police to tell them about it because he'd witnessed the event. He said he'd come back from work late and saw the lights were on in Mr. Jenkins' house. Mr. Brown knew his neighbor was away, so he carefully approached the window to look inside. The glass was frosted over, so he breathed on it to melt the ice and saw a man in a gray hoodie stuffing valuables into a blue backpack. Then Mr. Brown ran home and called the police. The officers listened to the story and immediately arrested Mr. Brown. Why? The dutiful neighbor had one detail wrong in his story. Windows become frosted over from inside. Then how could he have melted the frost with his breath from the outside? One rainy morning, Miss Riley left her house in a hurry and forgot some very important documents on her desk. She came back in an hour, but the document was gone. She gathered everyone who was in the house that day and questioned them. Ryan, the cook, said he'd been preparing dinner and didn't even set foot in Miss Riley's room. Sal, the janitor, said he'd only come in, turned on the lights to see if cleaning was needed, and left. Rose, the gardener, said she'd been busy watering the plants outside and didn't come into the house at all. Who took the document? It was a collective job. All of Miss Riley's employees were guilty. It was early in the day, so it would have made more sense for the cook to prepare lunch. For the same reason, the janitor wouldn't have needed to turn on the lights. And it was also raining, so the gardener wouldn't have to water the plants outside. There are 4 glasses on the table in front of you. Each of them is filled with water to the exact same level, and in each of them there's an object. In the first glass, there's a baseball. In the second, a pencil eraser. In the third, a wristwatch. And in the fourth, a paperclip. Which of the glasses has more water than the rest? the fourth glass. If you take out the objects from their glasses, the water level will drop because they'll stop taking up the volume. The paperclip is the smallest object, so there's more water in that glass. Humanity is coming to its end. The last man on Earth is going about his day, working the field, gathering wood for the fire, making supplies for the winter. At the end of the day, he's getting ready for bed when he hears a knock on the door. He isn't scared and goes to open it. Who's standing behind the door? A woman. Mark's best friend, James, lives in another city, and his birthday is soon, so Mark decides to send him a present. James loves playing golf, and Mark buys him an expensive golf club. But there's a problem. The best postal service in his town only accepts packages no bigger than 3 feet to a side, and the club is 4 feet long. Still, Mark found a solution. What was it? Mark bought a square box with a side of 3 feet and put the club inside it diagonally.